just that we're not feeling it.
Yeah.
It's always there until it's felt. And then a transformation begins. So they meet an old pain, and sometimes it's some kind of pain, and it doesn't even have to be from this lifetime. It can be from the generations that is carried through the family.
Yeah.
So they meet this must never be felt, like betrayal, some kind of horror. And they're so deeply programmed this should never be felt that they run from it back to the mind to look for the spiritual awakening again.
Yeah.
They're clinging to that state. But in that sense, they're leaving themselves behind from here downwards. So sooner or later, these feelings, they wait forever.
Yeah. They have to be felt.
They wait forever.
Yeah. Is that the same Eckhart Tolle talks about, the pain body? Or how do you see pain? Is pain clustered in a center, or is it in the organs? Where is pain in the body?
It's a very interesting question. It is felt at first through areas of contraction. It's like you can feel from here outwards, let your awareness expand, and you can feel, without even knowing the content, it doesn't even matter actually what the content is. You can feel, for example, I can feel here that there's still a contraction of guilt. That's normal, because humanity is condemned, so a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you feel the contraction, which is there. And the art is to really just allow it. Now, if we already can understand that nobody ever said, and this is where the mind is coming in, that we have so much space and that our being, our sense of space ends with this guilt, which is here, contracted. You don't need to heal the guilt immediately or deal with it. Actually, it's a shared guilt. You can just carry it. But to expand beyond it, around it, and even through it. Because the beautiful thing about perception is it's ours. And space, you can take the tiniest bit of space and go through this contraction. You can become finer than the contraction and travel through it with your feeling. The realization of space isn't just about infinity, it's also about zero distance, which means that you can go to zero distance with any contraction.
Pure intimacy.
A step beyond intimacy. Really,
Yeah.
really.
Intimacy
really
is not
close.
Real close.
Yeah, intimacy is still a function of space. It's beautiful, it's absolutely beautiful, but it's still a function of space.
Yeah.
Behind that the next layer is really compact, holding the physical unity which is here. From somewhere in space we are just one particle, this planet. So we can really go to zero distance. And of course what happens then is it's a great expansion of awareness.
Yeah. There's a colleague teacher of yours who says that the mental institutes are full of, how she calls it, cosmic vacuum cleaners. So let's say the people who are so open that you talk about the collective guilt, but they feel the collective pain, they feel the whole bunch of it. Immediately my mind says, that is not fair. Why should those people feel all the guilt, feel all the pain, and the other people are just walking happily through life? How come? How come we don't all get our fair share of the collective pain, the collective guilt, the collective sorrow?
Well, there's many ways to look at that. One is that, let's say, we are fully awakened, enlightened and self-realized, and we are totally free of this planet. Would we come back?
I don't think so. Why should we? But just out of compassion.
This is the thing. So I feel that many of us are here now out of compassion. We, beyond all of, when you really let go, let be, and go beyond everything, and I mean beyond every spiritual trip as well, to that place of utter existential no hope, to that, and even leap behind that to just being pure non-perception. And here, of course, it's a subtle game, because, and I think this is what Nisargadatta meant when he said, I am that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a subtle game because the universe kind of turns inside out. All you can see is the impressions, and that's when awareness is moving forward again, but you can jump back again and see the impressions of what that is bringing forward. So one of the first, finest impressions that brings you out of that is care. Such a deep, deep, deep unconditional care for all that is. So out of that care, we will take on the karma of maybe a family of generations to take it on ourselves. We will take on the challenge of a particular thought program or a particular kind of abuse, or even of bringing freedom to the area of cruelty, which actually would mean the disappearance of cruelty. We're working on it as a human species.
Mm-hmm.
We're not there yet. For every person who is in the most horrific cruelty, they are there. It's seen. It's seen. The moment it's felt, the moment they, at whatever stage, agree to suffer this, they are there. Now there is another place of cruelty, where perception, especially consciousness, averts its eyes. And this is one of the big traps of non-duality.
Yeah.
You know, the aversion to suffering.
Yeah. The denial.
It's an illusion.
Oh yeah, it's not there.
Yeah, I'm all right, I'm enlightened.
And you are not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so now let me tell the crowds of suffering masses about this, and that's my service, but I'm okay. So how non-dual is that? To have that separation between yourself and the whole?
Yeah. So could you say that there are quite a few teachers who speak about this still from an egoistic standpoint?
I think we all speak about it sometimes from an egoistic. The ego is always there because it's among us. In the play of form, the dance of form, there's always a kind of measuring thing which is happening. It's in a way, it's how we attune to each other. Am I better or worse? And it's also how we are inspired by each other. And when it becomes toxic competition, it's how we learn what we're not. We suffer in competition and we learn what we're not. We learn to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
So I really feel that the ones who are teaching, all of them, are doing it because they care. And they are dedicating who they are, what they are, their form, to a service which will help people. And the problem isn't the ones that teach. The problem is the ones that say, I am a great teacher, but I'll do it later when. Because I'm not ready yet, I'm not worthy yet. First I need to reach this stage, first I need to get there. And they retract themselves from the world, and this is a closure of compassion, and in a certain stage it's a contraction of the heart. And this leads to a kind of pretense which can be quite destructive, especially in spirituality.
Yeah. So all the criticism on, for example, the things my friend Paul Smith does, the Advaita cowboy, some people say it's not deep enough, it's too simplistic.
Yeah.
You say every form is okay in which this is communicated.
If there is freedom in form, if there is truly freedom in being here in form, and that's the only freedom that is, a freedom which is conditional on not being here in form or taking a particular form isn't freedom at all. No. It's in a false duality.
Yeah.
And the playfulness that he has, and the playfulness Lisa has, shows they are very much channeling that freedom, that unconditional aspect.
Yeah.
And people always reject. Rejection is among us. Rejection is a big part of the social field. And who cares? It's like the buck has to stop here. And for people who are afraid of rejection, who are thinking they can do more to help others, maybe have a satsang in their house, or maybe open up and really dissolve this barrier between themselves and others in a certain way. Often rejection is the thing which holds them back because it hurts like hell. But if we don't allow that pain, we don't realize it. We don't realize it as the game that it is. And that means that we tend to reject others. So it gets passed around.
Yeah.
Reject, reject, reject. And we see this in the world, and this is what's leading to war. This is what's leading to that cruelty. This basic need, because the pain is so great here, to throw it at the other.
Yeah. It gives us a certain kind of relief.
Yeah.
When I tell that it's your fault, I feel right for one moment.
Yes, a short-term fix.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So even if we take a little particle of the pain of rejection and allow it to feel it, we are really changing the vibration of the whole. We're stopping this suffering.
Yeah.
We're doing a bit to change it, and we don't need to actually, go out and teach or anything, but just being able to be at peace with rejection.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, if you're at peace with rejection, you're not in the mind. You're at peace with the pain. And secondly, if you're not at peace with the pain of rejection, it's anyway there.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have any peace around it.
Yeah.
It's not like it takes it away.
Yeah.
It doesn't. We can't heal rejection by rejecting rejection.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
We can't heal rejection by rejecting the rejection. Yeah. And Georgie, what do you think about and feel about all those teachers who meet each other at, let's say, Science and Non-Duality Conference, and they go on a rampage to say, well, he hasn't seen it, she has seen it, he hasn't seen it. I, as a seeker, could think, well, this is rubbish. If those people are still making fun of each other, what is this enlightened thing worth?
Yeah. Well, on one level, it's a community. So all communities, let's be for real, they are active social fields.
Yeah.
So there's a fun in it, and there's a joy in it.
It's like the same with the monkeys on the rock.
Yes, we are monkeys.
Yeah.
We are.
So that will never stop.
Actually, the monkeys are better than us.
Yeah, it's more clear.
They're less destructive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're not there in the thing yet so much.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. It's going to be there. The social field is here.
Yeah.
This social field with this game of acceptance and rejection and belonging and better and more and less and worse and all of this jiving around.
Yeah. Just seen as not how do you call it? Innocent.
Yeah. At the same time, often the ones who are really carrying the energy in such events are the participants.
Yeah.
They listen. The listening is containing far more than the speaking.
Mm-hmm.
He who knows how to listen, hears not only, he's in a position of receptivity of life. He hears not only what's coming in, but also his own thoughts. There's much more, when you move into pure receptivity, you're full of the whole world. And there is so little ego there from that position that it is the participants that are the teachers in a way. It's upside down.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, what would we all be in Science and Non-Duality if there weren't participants?
Yeah, nothing.
It would be a nice dinner party, maybe. But,
Yeah.
And then there is this other aspect, which is that...
Who once said that for women, this is just the dessert.